Okay, so absolutely nothing coming out. Why? Alright, so if you guys can hear me, give me just a few minutes here. It seems that the latest version of the streaming software sucks. Seems like everybody in the world is trying to penalize us poor fools that are still using Windows 7. Everything else was working just fine. So, give me just a minute to see if I can actually get this back going again. Yeah, this is the joys of it. Try to do a stream. Everything is working just fine, and they keep updating their software. And yeah, it absolutely just destroys what was already something that was working. I mean, this was working just fine. Everything has, been normal. I haven't changed anything in my settings whatsoever. But, it just seems that they're not content with just leaving things alone. I don't want a video display capture. Alright. So I guess I'll be ending the stream here because it decides right now that it no longer wishes to work whatsoever, and I'm not able to get anything for a video. Alrighty. I'll try a couple other things really quickly. Display one. I don't know if anybody's watching. Tell me if you see anything. I should go to my channel and see if anything's showing up. Well, okay, weird. It is working. Go to my channel and see if anything's showing up. Well, okay, weird. It appears to be working for you guys to see, but I'm not getting a preview, which is weird. Okay, well, I'm just going to roll with it. So if there's any problems, you guys let me know in chat. Alright, so a revisit on the war card game. Sorry for the 4 minutes of wasted time here. But I had a request for the war card game. I guess somebody's working on a project for college or whatever, and they wanted me to send them a copy of what I had. And I don't think that's proper thing to do. Just give you mine, and then I'm not saying this is what the person was intending to do, but saying that take my project and just rebrand it and say, hey, look what I made. So instead, and I think it's going to be a little bit better for everybody in the long run if they actually see how it's done. And let's see if I can remember anything at all. So what I've done is I've created a blank project. If you look at it, do a new project, blank. That's all I did. And just gave it a name of card games. So there's nothing here. And first thing I'm going to do here is look at my content folder. There's nothing. Go to my editor preferences and make sure that this is set to main window. And loading and saving, enable autosave is disabled because you are the master of your own saves. So when you're setting up a card game, of course, the first thing you want to do is whenever you think about what the game is going to be. So when you first launch the game and it comes up, what is going to happen? Right now, if I hit play, that's it. I get a cursor. I can look around. I can do whatever. There's nothing. So what do you want to happen when you first hit play on the game? What do you want to be there? Well, we don't want this. So what we can do is create our core structure for our system. The first thing we're going to need is a new folder. So if we look in our content and then select new folder, let's call this maps. It'll be our first one we create. And inside there, what we need to do now is create a new level, empty level, because we don't need anything. We don't need anything at all. We don't need a 3D environment for a 2D card game, unless that's what you're trying to create, a table and so forth. But we're going to start simple and get the functionality of the menu and then the card game, and then go from there. So our first menu, how are we going to get anything up at all? When we hit play, there's nothing. So first thing I'm going to do now, well, the next thing I'm going to do is go back into my content folder, create another new folder, and I'm going to call this our interface. You can call it whatever you like. And for giggles, I'm going to create another folder called widgets. Inside the widgets folder, I'm going to go ahead and create user interface widget blueprint main menu underscore W, so we know that it's a widget. And then we can go into it, load it up, and now this is what's going to be our main menu. There we go. So we need some functionality, but the first thing I want to do is actually grab an image, drag it in here, and change the anchor to full screen, then offset left, right, top, and bottom, change those to 0. And you can make this background color whatever you want. I'm going to go ahead and make it pure black. 0, 0, 0 with 1 on alpha. And I'm going to drag this up here so we can save that solid black color. And now we have our background. There we go. So we need some functions. We need basic buttons. But remember, we are the master of our save functions. Orange Crush and Orange Zest Alka-Seltzer Plus. 'Tis the season for colds, right? Okay, so again, however lovely we want this to be, we could have really awesome background image and, flowers or cards or motion or whatever. We need a menu system. We can put it in upper left, upper right, along the bottom. Could do whatever we want. If we, as an idea, we put along the bottom a whole line of buttons, then what we could do is actually keep this open and play the game up here and still have our controls for our menu system, which is not a bad idea. Or we could put it right here. If we put it in the center of the screen, if we hit play game, then it'll make whatever's here go away, and then we can actually play the game. So let's start with, for now, we're just going to put some buttons right here in the center. So what do we need our buttons to do? One is play game, one is exit game. You can have a settings button in, info button. It was made by so-and-so. Let's start off with 3 buttons. So one of the things that I want to do here is go into panel, and we want a vertical box. For now, I'm just going to make it kind of big. We want to anchor it to center so that it's going to be there. And let's give some dimensions to the box. For right now, let's go ahead and go with 500 and 500 so that we can set our box dead set in the middle. It should be negative 250 and negative 250. So everything is just squared up right now in the center. Now, keeping with what we need to do here, let's go ahead and rename our, and all I did was left click on it slowly twice, and background image so we know what's what. Our vertical box, let's go ahead and name this to our menu button box so we know what it is. And then we need to start getting some buttons in here. Now the first button, drag it in here, and then let's grab some text and drag it and drop it down to on top of button 40. I'm not going to give this button a name yet because we want 3 buttons. I can right click and copy, or Control C, Control V, but now I can click back on our menu button box, Control V, and there we go. Do the same thing and Control V, and now we have our buttons. So let's go ahead and call this our play button. And in our text block, let's go ahead and type in play game. This is going to stay nice and clean and functional. We can do center justification, shouldn't matter. So this one's going to be our options button, or settings. Let's just call it options. And again, options. Actually, let's change the name of this to options button, and exit button. And we'll just call this quit, or QUIT, quit game. Now, this isn't in the center anymore, so there's a couple things we could do. We could space these out and try to make them fill, or since we just have that, we can just shrink this window down and move it into the middle. I'm actually going to go ahead and grab in a primitive, I think it is, spacer, and I'm going to drop in a spacer between each of the buttons. Now that spacer, and the joy of being dyslexic, let's put 50 in. I think the buttons are actually 40 in size, so let's just do 40. And then now that I've got that there, I can actually copy it and paste, and then just move it up. So now we have a little bit of space in between. There's other ways of doing that, but now I can grab this and let's see, we're at 225, so let's try to 230, and then we want half of the Y, which would be 115, negative 115, and that centers it up again. So now we've got our buttons pretty much in the center of the screen. Got play, options, quit game. We don't have any functionality on them yet. We'll get that in there. But we need that to come up when we first hit play, because right now if we hit play, we just have this black screen. So the next thing to do is go to our blueprints, open the level blueprint, and we don't need the event tick. From here we can go to create widget, because we want that widget to be the first thing that pops up. We want that widget to be the main menu widget. And get player controller. Get everything nice and neat and clean. And we're going to need to add to a viewport so that it actually comes up on the screen. We never did save our map. So we'll go to our maps folder. We'll call this our main menu map. Alright, so compile and save. So now whenever we hit play, we should have this pop up. So we hit play, and there we go. Now, none of these buttons actually do anything. We will get that done here in just a second. But another thing you can do on play is click in between here and play in new window, and it'll be kind of like you're playing on your screen. So now let's go ahead and get some functionality in here. This is going to be really complicated for the quit button. Let's start with that first. But what we can do here is on our play button, look at our graph. We got all this stuff right here. Let's go ahead and get rid of it. Our play button was the top one on the screen. Click on it, and on clicked, options button, on clicked, exit button, on clicked. So we'll add functionality for all of them in here, but this is going to be the fastest one to do. And when we hit the exit game button, we want to quit game. Now, I'm not the kind of person that likes nag screens. Do you really want to exit? A whole other window pops up saying, are you sure you want to exit? And then you click that. Oh, did you really mean that you really want to exit the game? Kiss my butt. I don't need your frickin' nag screens. I clicked on exit game. If I did it accidentally, then I was a dumbass. But I don't like dumbass screens. Did you mean to press that button? Yeah, I hate that crap. So I'm not going to go into it. If you want me to break it down for you so you can add that functionality into your game, let me know and I'll go into that. But for now, yeah, I'm not going to do it. So now if we hit play game, it's going to open it up in a new window. Play game does nothing, options does nothing, and quit game does exactly as it says. It quits the game. So now we are set up to start adding some other functionality into the other buttons. The options button, I'm not going to do anything right yet, but that's going to be basically the same thing of creating this menu. Now you can do things like, and there's so many ways you can set up your UI, and that's pretty much what this game is going to be, is nothing but UI. We have the main menu functionality here is inside this vertical box. That's why I packaged it in there. Now, being that it is a thing, menu box, we go into our graph. We got a background image. We have all that. Well, I want to be able to access that and control this box. How can I do that? Well, background image is one thing, but holy crap, did they change it? We need to be able to use it functionally like a variable that we can pull into our map or into our scripting here. Got our anchor, canvas panel. Really, there was an additional button you could, or checkbox you could add in there that allowed you to actually do it that way. So when you were in your graph, you actually could just drag it into there and actually had that as a variable. Oh God, I wish they would quit. Oh, there it is. So it's been a while since I've been in this environment. So now as a variable, if I hit compile and save, now I go back into my graph, I can actually pull in that. You can see it's its own separate thing here. I can get main menu just as an example, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to run a flip-flop so that whenever I pressed that right there, unfortunately, no, because the button's going to disappear. What I want to do here is when I press this button, I want to do something. So what I'll do is set visibility of that to hidden. And then just for right now, just for functionality purposes, we're going to run a delay of, screw it, 3 seconds. And then we're going to do Control C and Control V. I'm going to delete this shortly anyway. But all I want to do is show that there's some functionality of being able to hide that and then make it come back. So you can control the visibility and functionality with that button. So if we hit play, we hit options, it actually makes that go away. If we want another menu to come in here, then all we would have to do is just tell it to turn the visibility on there. And what it didn't do was change that back to visible. So now if I hit this, it's going to turn off this button area, give me another one to work with, and then when I'm ready to come back, I can push another button and it'll reload this one. So that's how we can actually cycle things inside the same window without having to load up multiple maps. So right now I'm just telling it to hide it and it'll come back. But yeah, that's weird. I just lost my my mouse cursor. Because what I was trying to do here was click on the options button and then click on the exit button. And you see I lose my mouse cursor. So there's always going to be some troubleshooting back and forth. So it's like, what do I do here? We can actually do a whole new setup here. We could, I wonder if you can do, no, there's no deactivation on that. You can actually do other things to change that and vary that. I'm going to delete these for now. Let's look back at this. So now with that, we've got this box is actually set up to be a variable, so we can actually call it whenever we want to. You know, if we wanted to change that to where, like I said, it was horizontal or vertical or whatever we want, set it up however you want. So let's actually, to make this a little bit different, let's go ahead and make this, when we hit play game, actually load a new map so that we can have a clean slate. So we are good on this. So let's we look at our maps folder. We know that this is the main menu map. We want to go ahead and we want a new map. So what I'll do here is file. Yeah, we can do this. Save current as, and it's going to create another version of it. Now we want to call this our war map, whatever, game of war. So now we're in that map. Let's go to our blueprints, open level blueprint, and later on what we're going to have to do is change this widget over to the new widget we're going to create for the actual card game. So on our interface, widgets, user interface, widget blueprint, and war game W. Go in here, we're going to do basically the same thing. We're going to grab an image, we're going to go ahead and anchor that to full screen, and 0, 0, and 0, and 0. We've already got our black color saved. Bam. And compile, save. So now, if we come in here to our blueprints, open level blueprint, let's go ahead and change that to there, and now we're done for now. So when we first begin playing on this map, it's going to load in that widget, and that's what we want. So now we can actually build our widget functionality, and I think what I would end up doing is creating my button down here on the bottom for controlling, or upper right hand corner, like back to main menu, whatever. But for now, we need 2 cards. And now this is where if you've got the image of a card you want to use, or images, if you want to have all 52 or whatever cards, then you can do that. All you would do is just drag in an image, and you go ahead and go to your brush settings and find your image and insert it there. I don't have an image right now that I'm going to use, so in fact I don't think I even have one saved. Hello. I used to have those saved somewhere. You know, I'm not even going to bother for right now. I'm just going to show you a basic way of doing this. So we can just get an approximate shape. Size 300 by 450. Lovely. Let's anchor that to the center of the screen, or let's actually top center. And wow, everything is being absolutely derpy as hell right now. Let's see, background, image, and we are going to rename this one, but what I want to do here was copy and paste. So we have 2. I don't know why the hell it's doing that. Yep, you need to kiss my ass. Background image. Let's go ahead and change the Z order to -5, so nothing will ever be, below that. They're both anchored to top center. And if you change your position, that's -364, and that's 0. You'd want to line that up as close as you could. I'm just going to use this as a rule here. And using the gray background. Not worried about being exactly perfect. I mean, I could do -340 to round the numbers out. And then this one is 35. Actually, it should be 34 if you want to match it up perfectly. And then your position here. If you did -300, that's not right. We know we're at 34. So yeah, let's put it at 100 here. And that was 34. And then we can click on this one and 100. So now we're pretty much centered out on the 2 of them here. We can go ahead and name this to be the left card and right card. Now, that's pretty much what we need. Now, we need some text as well, and it's going to be a very simplistic way of doing these. The more, if you want your card to have a number here, and a symbol here, knock yourself out. Get as creative as you want for doing this part. I am just going to have a number showing up in the card. So I'm going to grab text and drop it here. We're actually going to change the color. Oh, let's see. A nice red color. That sounds lovely. So we'll do red. And we're going to need to change some of the parameters here. Center it up for sure. But we need to give it text. The largest number we're going to have is going to be 10. Okay. So we look at our font. How big can we make it? It's 175. That seems logical enough. So let's see here. Let's put it at 200. Lovely. Okay, so it says text here, but what I want to do here is LC numbers. Make sure it's a variable. The left and right card images, they're not going to do anything, but I'm going to go ahead here and copy and paste. And we'll do RC, so right card numbers, and we'll just grab that. And 200. You know what, close enough. And we need to make sure we anchor those to the top middle. All right, let's compost and save. So now when we have these, they're going to pop up. We're going to be numbers, and there we go. What we're going to have to do is create functionality for those numbers, and we'll get to that in just a minute. We need some buttons for return to main menu. We're going to need buttons for draw card. We'll need an area to display victory conditions, like you won, you lost, whatever. Functionality gets a little bit more in depth. We're just getting the basics done here of getting it ready for the actual functionality. And again, if you want all 52 cards, then you have to create accountability of all 52 cards. So if the ace of spades is drawn, it cannot be displayed again until the end of the game, and you reset. So it then becomes no longer usable. So that is way too complex to get into in a 1 hour or less video. So let's get the basics done, get it ready for the hardcore functionality, and then we'll go from there. So, like I said, we need to allow for text to show up here later on, but for now, we want a button. We want functionality for it to actually, we can hit the space bar and make it work, or we can click on it with the mouse. Either one. So let's just start off with a simple button, and for now I'm going to line it up here just so I can get the approximate size that I want. And close enough for government work. We're going to anchor this to the bottom and do negative 340, negative 500 size. Let's make it 500 by 120. Oh, actually, I need to make it longer. .666. No, we're not going to do that. So you can get as fine-tuned as you want on that. I'm just getting it there. We're going to call this our deal button. Or draw button, whatever. and draw a card. Make sure everything is centered up, and let's give it, I don't know, whatever. Blue. Actually, just for the hell of it, let's give it a green color. Oh, that's terrible. That is way too... Just make it darker. Okay, and right card number, just for shiites and grins, let's make that blue. So we have some variation. So, red, blue, green. Some color, a little bit of something going on there. And we know that this is actually a button, so that's going to work. And let's go ahead and get one more button in here, and let's anchor this to the, well, we'll anchor it to the bottom right, but let's get the text on it. And exit to menu button. Text, let's go ahead and main menu. So we need the button itself. Click on it, and let's increase the size so we can get all of our text in there. And I'm going to drop it down here, anchor it to the bottom right. You can anchor it as neatly and cleanly as you want. Compost, save, and now let's get some functionality on this button. Go to here, get rid of that. Go to our exit to menu button. On clicked, what to do is we need to go back to the main menu. Open level, and the level that we want to go to. It's not multiplayer. If so, you want to type in here listen. Not necessary because we're not in multiplayer. If you cannot remember the name of the map, go to your maps folder. Click on it. Control C so you can copy the name, and then paste it in here. Compost and save. Now we're going to have to go back into the other one because what we didn't do was, let's copy that, go to our widgets for our main menu widget, our options, play, we want to open level and put that in there. So what we do have is press quick game, boom, we're gone. If we hit open level, it's going to go to the new level. And now in here, if we click on to exit, then it's going to carry us back to the other one. So let's test a few things out here real quick. Okay, we hit play, it goes to the game. We hit main menu, it goes back to there. Reason why I came up to that one first is because we are in the wrong map. If we go back to the main menu map and hit play, this is our main menu. So if we hit quit game, it works. We hit options, we took that away. We hit play game, now we're here. We can play our game, we'll get done. This does nothing right now, but main menu does work. So that or that. So how do we get this and this to display something? Well, we need to have it to, when we press this button here, we need to set the text to these, and we need it to display that text. This is where it gets fun. Alright, so deal button, click on that, unclicked, and now here's where we start building some actual functionality. What do we do when we press that clicked button? LC numbers, RC numbers, they are our text. So what we can do here for now is the simplest way of doing this is to have the numbers 1 through 10. Now, I know that that is excluding the Jack, Queen, and King. That's going to be some more complex things we have to add in later on, but let's keep it simple, and since we're trying to keep it under an hour, we're going to be tight on that anyway. We just want to have 1 through 10. So, we're going to get our left card, and what we're going to do is we are going to random we need to create text. Random integer in range. So we want minimum is 1, maximum is 10. So what we're going to do here is we want to do this. We want to we need to set that text. So let's actually do this. Left card numbers, we want to set. Actually, no. We want, let's go back to our designer. Our numbers here, it's set to a variable. So what we're going to have to do is create another variable system in here. And then we're going to have to create a binding. Alright, so variables. We got LC numbers. We need to actually change those names over so that they're less confusing. Display. LC number display. And the actual text that it's showing is 10 on each one. Alright, so with that, we need to go ahead and create this variable system. And new variable. Let's start off with just a random name here. Change me. So we're going to end up changing that over, and we need this to be an integer. Compile and save. Okay. Now that integer is going to report back as 0 as its default number, and that's fine. So with that, we need to create some functionality here. We need to create that. So yeah, we are going to be using this random integer in range, minimum of 1 or 10. Return value is going to be, we need to set, well, let's just do it this way. We're going to set this variable. Now, we'll change this to be left card and right card, but we just want to start off with 1 and get the functionality there. And we'll plug this in so that we are building this functionality. We're setting this number as to be 0 or 1 through 10, and then we're setting it to there. Now, with this as well, we need to go back to our designer and go to our binding for our text. create binding. So when we do this, what we're going to do here is, even though it's going to be a text, it'll still display that as well. We can get this and just grab that. We'll get this variable here, and we need to text, and that's all. We need to compile and save. So now it's going to get that value. So let's take a look really quickly. See, it says 0. And actually, no, let's play the game. So it's going to change every single solitary time. Okay, so it's changing the right card. Quit game. And let's see, designer, we're on this number display here. We click on deal. Right now we're just setting that. And right number display. So that's the function that we created. We want to do both of them. So we need to go back and click on this one, and we need to do the same thing, but we're going to focus on this guy for right now. This is going to be set right card value, just so we know what it does. It's actually assigning the number to it. So this is going to be in our event graph. We're changing this one. It's called change me. We're going to rename this to be right card number. Now it changed it right there, and it changed it right there for me. So we need to do basically the same thing here and get this to go into creating another one. So what we need to do here now is go ahead and create another variable, which is going to be left card number, compose, save. It's going to default to 0. So now we can go back in here, and we have this one selected, binding, create binding, and we want this to be our, come on, set left card value. We're going to do the same thing here. Left card number, we're going to get that. We're going to text that, and compost and save. Now we're done with that, and we're done with that. We can go back to our event graph. We've done a compile and save. Let's get that. We're going to set. We're going to do this at the same time, and we're going to Control C and Control V. Instead of using the same one, or else it would actually just assign whatever it comes up with to both of them. We don't want that. We want each card to be different. So compile, save. Look in here, hit play, hit draw. Now we're going to get a different number on each one. Yeah, it may come up with the same number. You're only talking about 10 numbers total. So there you go. That's your basic functionality of drawing those random ones. Now, if you were trying to do more complex things, like display from the 52 cards, you would have to, at this point, it would also need to verify whether or not that card has been used. So what you'll have to do is, when you draw a card initially, say we get the Ace of Spades and Ace of Clubs, and it says, okay, set these numbers to that. Once I've set the right card value or number here, I need to have a variable for each of them. Now, there's other ways you can do that, but simplistically saying, you're going to have to assign a value for ace of spades, two of spades, three of spades, four of spades. All 52 cards are going to need their own variable. And then you have to create another variable saying, whether it's available or not with that variable. Or can use, or what have you. So now whenever you're drawing a card, if it draws ace of spades a second time, it needs to check to see if that card's available. If that card is not available, then you need to tell it to revert back to drawing another number. So you can't get the same number twice. I hope that makes sense. We're not going to get into the advanced tutorial on the card game of war or blackjack or whatever. But we would need to start looking at really quickly some other things like, since we have this functional, let's actually go to the main menu map, hit play like you just started a game. We're going to hit play. We have default of nothing there, which is fine. It's showing zeros, but as soon as I hit draw a card, it's going to give me, I'm player red, player blue is the computer. You could actually put U and CPU right up here, so you know who's who. Draw a card. Draw a card. Oh, I lost. Oh, I won. Oh, I lost. I lost. And I won. So, scorekeeping, you could actually set up another same system right here of doing a quick check. So what you need to do here is, I'm going to go back to this map so it loads that widget, this one that we're working on. So it needs to then get those numbers and say, is this number greater than that number? So it's basically using some simple math here. So on clicked deal button, we're still going to be working off of this. So we have these two right here. We can do this a little bit different way. Let's break this, and for now, I'm just going to move them out of the way. I'm going to put them right back in here. But let's do a sequence node, and then 1 or 0, and then 1. No, plug your ass in there. It doesn't change the functionality. It still works the same way. You could actually break this down into functions and stuff like that too, which will probably be easier and neater in the long run. But if you're just trying to work it out and get it functional, let's get started with doing this, and then we can line these up and build them at the same time. So I'm just going to leave that down there for now. So we can build on this one and get this information. And actually, let's do it a little bit differently. I know, I'm being confusing as hell. And I'm being wishy-washy, but, I always say proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance. So we're going to grab this, and we're going to put this here. And I'll explain here in just a second why I'm doing it that way. So, what I'm doing here is the left card is our player, okay? We are that left card. We are the red one. So we need to check to see if this number is better than that number. So let's see. Is it... Now, what happens if we get the exact same number? What if we have a tie? If you get a tie, we'll deal with that in just a second. So right now, we need to see if our number is greater than that number. And that's what we need is a victory condition. So what we're going to do is that. So we've checked, is this number greater than this number? And then we just throw our branch in here, connect that to there, connect that to there. And then we need our victory conditions here if it's false. Then what we can do here is basically the same thing. It will do integer, is it equal to, and to get that, actually, we'll do that separately here in just a second, since I've already typed this one in. We want to see if it is less than. So we need to plug that in here. So from right here, victory condition, we have a higher card. Here, it's failure conditions. But let's drag this over to here, make sure we keep those connected. And I'm just going to be somewhat neat about it. And we'll do equal integer. So now what we need to do is connect this. This is what happens when we tie. So branch, hold down a B and left click. So now this is what happens when we have a tie. So we can actually do the same basic principle here. Looking at this, we have nothing right here. Let's just go ahead and put some text in right here, and we'll wrap this up. And we want it to be draw card. And let's go ahead and let's do it. And 100. Screw it. I don't want car. Anchor, bottom center. And it's just going to display that draw card for now. And then once we draw our card, it'll show something different. So let's go back in here. We're going to need another variable. And this is going to be round condition. We need this to actually not be an integer. We need it to be text. Compost and save. So now we have this. We need to set. So if we did win, winner, winner, chicken dinner. So this is winner. And I'm just going to Control C, Control V, and Control V. I'll change the text conditions. We'll do false to here, and that, and that. So when this condition becomes loser and draw. When loser draw. Now we need to assign that. So when we're setting those conditions, that's good. We need to go back to our designer, and we need to create a binding, and we're just going to call this results text value. And we'll grab this. We'll do this and that. It's kind of complicated, but compost, save. So in theory, if we compost, save, and hit play, there's nothing there. Winner, winner. Okay, so it's not working on draw, and it's not setting it every time. So let's take a look at that. winner, it's setting it to there. What did I forget? Alright, let's look at the troubleshooting of this. It's nothing, so we hit draw card. It's in the wrong position, but it says winner. It should say draw. So, if this is true, we set it to that. If we are the winner, we are this. So when we're setting this right here, we're checking these two numbers, seeing if it is greater than the other number. If this number is greater than this number, true, we set it to this. So let's click on our text. Make sure it's center. Sorry, yes, that will bug me if it doesn't stay centered. Draw. There we go. And it changes there. So what we're going to have to do is, well, that's loser. Why did I lose my friggin' mouse cursor? Unreal Engine 4 has been acting really, really odd after about 4.19. So hit draw. That is not higher than that. That is not a winner condition. Graph this. If this number, left card is greater than right number, then print this. If not, is it, then less than that number. If true, then it prints out loser. If it is not either of those two conditions, okay, for now I'm just going to go ahead and do, I don't see where I've made this mistake. If it is greater than B, if A is greater than B, then set that to winner. And why did it not have anything there at all when we first hit play? Well, let's go ahead and set it as a variable to make sure that it stays correctly. Even though it should be, because we have round condition, and that's what we're setting as the round condition text. Text block 411 is actually going to be victory condition text. Draw. It is a variable. Everything should be good to go. But just like anything else, that worked. And it says winner. That should say draw instead of loser. That's a winner. That should say draw. That's a winner. And that's a winner, but it says draw. Alright. So at this point right here, when we've done this, we're setting this condition. It will probably be best to actually put this stuff here into this function. We're setting that variable right there. We're getting it and we're telling it to display right there. So let's see if we can actually throw that functionality into here. So we get left card number, right card number, and here let's just see if we can, And I think what's probably happening is because I didn't break these apart, and I'll explain that a little bit better here in just a minute. I'm telling it to do this each time, and it's running it through and not understanding what I'm trying to do. Integer. So we need to find out if A is greater than B. Which means now we need a branch node. So if it is that, then we need to... Let's get rid of U for right now. And we need to set round condition. You know what? I don't like any of that. That was... It was appropriate. That's fine. It's actually going to be in here. And in theory, this is correct. Because this is the first part. We should probably just do a reset afterwards. So, for now, let's set round condition. And let's grab a delay. No, let's actually clear this. Whenever we first hit the button, we want to actually clear what is actually there. This is the fun. Let's go ahead and set and give it no value. So we first start off, we're setting this to nothing, getting rid of the text. We shouldn't have to. But this is Unreal Engine 4, and it does do stupid things. So if we hit play, there's nothing here. Draw a card. That's incorrect. That is correct. That is correct. That's not correct. This is higher than that one. And mouse cursor just disappeared as well. Alright, it's apparent that I'm going to be in that permanent loop of what the hell are you doing, Unreal Engine 4? Because it is just doing absolutely stupid things right now. Because simple logic is showing that this is what we need to do. We need to, if we disconnect all of this stuff right here, and all we would have to do is just technically disconnect here. We hit play. There's nothing there. That's a winner. This is no longer going to change. But it disappeared. So, and that's what it should do right now, is it should disappear if we lose or draw. And we lost here, the text went away. We lost, but now it's saying winner. Alright, see, this is why I got away from doing this stupid-ass Unreal Engine 4 for a while. Is because after, like I said, after about 4.19, things are simple, just quit working. Basic logic no longer applies to anything. You know, this information right here is being ignored for right now. I mean, I'll delete it completely. all it should do right now is remove anything from our text whenever we first start. We click the deal button, it clears that out, and then it's going to get a comparison between these two numbers here. And it's going to check to see if A is greater than B. Simple enough. Return value of A is greater than B. If the left card number is higher than the right card number, we want to change the round condition text to say winner. It's pretty damn simple. So we hit play, draw a card, we won, great. But what I wanted to do is when I hit draw a card again, okay, we're a winner, that's great. We lost. So at this point right here, it is not changing this text at all because we didn't tell it to remove it at this point. So we lost and it went away. We hit the draw card button, it is resetting that value. Because it was a draw, nothing shows up. We win, it will show up. It's supposed to be clearing this along the way every time we hit this button. We lost. It should have cleared this out. But it is not getting the correct value from there. See, we lost and it cleared at that time. Winner? I don't think so. We're lower than that, but it said winner. We won. We won that time. Won that time. Lost, and it didn't clear. We won, and it cleared. So, it's defying basic logic. Every time we press this button, we click that deal button, it is going to check the... It's going to automatically clear out this. It's going to clear the text completely. I mean, I could just tell it to put a period in there. So it sets it to the period. And then it checks, did we win? Yes. Change it to say winner. When we click it again, it resets it back to that period. And then, there you go. It should be running that logic every single solitary time. We didn't win. This number is not higher than this number. We lost. Okay, so it drew the period. We won. We lost. It went back to period again. It stayed there because we didn't tell it to change it to anything else. We lost. So how is it saying that this number is higher than this number? I'm pretty sure my chat might be broken too, by the way. So it's absolutely broken logic. See, we won that time, but now it's gone back to the period. We won, and it reported back correctly. So you guys now see, after going through all this, spending an hour setting up this basic system right here, and Unreal Engine 4 is broken as hell. I don't think I am doing anything wrong with that whatsoever. It is absolutely just flawed. Because if we go back in here, and if it's true, then go back and do this. So we can grab this, Control C and Control V. So if it is not that, then we need to check then by adding another one of these in. We need to integer. If it is, actually let's go back to equal to. If it is equal to this value right here, then we want it to say draw. Simple enough, right? And then from here, Let's go ahead and throw in one more. So if it is not, we're going to go directly into here. So if it is not a winner, it is not a draw, then you must be a loser. Loser. So with that condition, what we're trying to check here is if integer is less than this integer here. So if a is less than b, then we go here. And we're setting this value across the board. So we hit play, we draw a card, we're a winner. Lovely. Hey, we're a winner. That is not a fucking draw. Unreal Engine, you stupid piece of shit. That is a lose. We lost. It is not a freaking draw. 1 is not equal to 5. So yeah, this is one of the reasons why I quit screwing around with this damn thing, because the later and later versions, simple things break. And this is simple, basic logic. If it's this, then do that. If it's not, then is it this? No, then do that. It's pretty simple. Even if we broke this off of there, because if it's not a win and it's not a draw, then it has to be a lose, right? So in theory, that should still work, even without this right there. So we either win, we lose, or we draw. So it has to check these numbers. First off, when we hit that button, it is putting down our values of those cards, and that's great. And then it needs to check whether or not those numbers are, if your A is greater than B, see, that's what it says right there, A is greater than B, then you're a winner. If no, then is it equal to each other? Are they equal numbers? If so, then it's a draw. But if it's neither of these two right here, then logic states that it has to be you lost. Winner, nice. Winner, nice. Loser, nice. Loser, winner, winner, and winner, winner. That wasn't a winner. We're apparently a loser here because our 6 is not greater than 1. Alright, I'm done. Let's see. We'll do this. This. Come here, you piece of shit. And where was that project? Card games. And goodbye. Yeah. So many projects, so many things that I was working on, and little dumb shit like that is what pisses me off to the point where I'm not sure if I want to make a full comeback in Unreal Engine 4 or not, because we're already into a new version. We're in 423 now, and these two are crap at best. I haven't even updated my simple multiplayer template to 423 yet, because I was waiting for the developer of the plugin to make it work correctly with the later versions of 422, because it didn't work correctly in 422, and he didn't want to fix the 422 version until he finished doing the 423 version. Okay, so yeah, we're stuck here with no functionality in 422. So if you want to use it, you're gonna have to use it in 420. It worked in 421 with the right plugin. 422, it didn't work correctly, but it should work correctly in 423. And I'm about to do another archive of projects and completely nuke everything. I have slightly a few different assets to deal with here. But projects like the theater project, 502, Minecraft, like the Minecraft showing how to do the basic junk with that, spawning different blocks and so forth. My multiplayer template, the motion thing, the mini town project, all the different city projects that I had going on. Blue Harvest project that went on hold because while I'm sitting here trying to come up with a lot of the concepts and cool things for that, Surviving Mars came out, which is okay. It's more of a top-down RTS where I was trying to combine some of that with first-person / third-person. Well, then another game came out and was released that's actually Fly Me to the Moon or something like that, where essentially you're on the moon troubleshooting stuff. And there two games pretty much head out at the same time that were along the same lines of a combination between the two is what the Blue Harvest project was all about. It was actually Moon Project. So I kind of just gave up on that one. I would like to pursue the 502. It's using the Sydney Studios World War II or the War Pack with the World War II characters and stuff. Tribute game to the 502nd Parachute Infantry and Infantry Division. As you know, that today is Veterans Day, and I am a veteran. One of the units that I was in was the 502nd Infantry Division, which, quick history lesson, and then I'm getting out of here, is the D-Day invasion in France, World War II. The 502nd Infantry Division, or Parachute Regiment, was one of the many units that actually parachuted into France. And the 502 was parachuted in behind the enemy lines. I go into a lot more detail on talking about it in another video, but essentially some of the units landed in the right place. Most of them landed in the wrong place. One of them, the pilots of the frickin' gliders and so forth, were so retarded and should not have been pilots, threw out the frickin' jump signal over the damn English Channel. So these poor bastards parachute out and they land in the ocean with 100 pounds of frickin' gear and drown and die. Frickin' idiot pilot just said, well, we must be overland, so let's go ahead and just tell them to parachute out. Dumbass. So, if you guys want to talk about Unreal Engine 4 more, let me know. As it stands now, my usual streams, I've had a pretty nasty cold for the last couple of days, so I haven't done any streaming. But here in a little while, I will start streaming some Red Dead Redemption 2 on PC and give you my overall opinions on that. A lot of people complain about problems loading and launching and this and that and everything else. I've had no problems whatsoever. Everything has been perfectly fine. I've had no problems with playing the game. I don't really like the interface, but it works. So what I'll do here in about, 2 hours, is I'll do a game night stream and do some Red Dead Redemption 2. So the Unreal Engine stuff has kind of pissed me off to no end with all the broken crap. They keep adding new cool features that I don't frickin' use and have no need for what I'm doing. But a lot of the older shit gets broken in the meantime. That they won't go back and address the things that have broken. And it's the simple shit that I use every day. I guess it's because I'm old and don't know any freaking better. But it's the simple shit that keeps breaking, and I just got no time for it. If you guys want me to get back into it more, let me know on Discord. I don't look at the comments on YouTube. I don't need to look at comments on YouTube when I have a Discord channel. The link is in the description to join my Discord channel. Pop in, say hello, that kind of stuff. But other than that, I don't really pay attention to it. Alright, guys and gals. Love y'all, and not just when it's cold. And we will see you around.